Hey everyone, welcome to Mindset Talks Life Beyond the Checkboxes. I'm John Jermillo, Leadership Performance Coach.
And I'm Prati Kaufman. I'm an entrepreneur and a marketing energy coach.
In this series, we want to have real everyday conversations that go outside kind of the way that you lay out a coaching conversation, where it's kind of like you make sure that they're like standardized checkboxes to start before you customize it to your client. So this is like just real conversations about real issues between those coaching sessions. We're not coming at it necessarily as coaches, but we happen to be coaches. We're just curious to have these conversations to see how we break down these different topics. So, for this topic, for this day, for this episode, the topic is success. How do we define success? And Prati, I think this is a conversation, this is a topic that's just very objective, or it's subjective, excuse me, subjective, where it all depends who you're talking to. It all depends who you're talking about. Everybody has different priorities on what they find important, what they're working towards. Some people are working towards money, others towards fame, others towards power, others towards fulfillment. And I don't know about you, but I found that I knew that before, but it's amazing when you talk to different clients, whether it's marketing on your end and energy or leadership on my side, what that definition of success looks like for different people. For me, I mean, I've had instances in my life where I had some money in my pocket, instances where I didn't have that money in my pocket. And as you get older, you realize, I mean, for me, again, because it is subjective, for me, it's been lately more about fulfillment. It's been more about what makes me literally feel full. So whether it's a conversation, whether it's a collaboration, whether it's an interview, a conversation like we're having right now, these are the moments for me that I feel that success. I don't know how many people may feel like that sensation of fulfillment is success. But for me, if I can seek out those moments, for me, as long as everything in life is taken care of, where I mean, I come from a blue collar background. So for me, where I am compared to where my parents were at my age is much better, and it's because of them. It's because of their hard work. It's because of my dad sometimes working two jobs. Like everything I have now is for them. So now it's like for me, and I'm lucky. I'm lucky that I grew up like that in a blue collar family because um, not that it was low, but I mean, you're always striving to get out of that. So for me, because my parents supported me so much and gave me education and gave me everything they could, they lifted me up like a level higher than them. So for me, I already kind of feel that sense of success. I keep working at it. I mean, you and I know I keep working at it. I keep working at it with you. I keep collaborating. I keep trying to do whatever I can to further and grow that. But for me, I already feel that sensation of success. And now to keep that going, I keep building upon that, whether it's relationships, again, partnerships, collaborations, everything that you and I have done, that kind of thing. So for you, what does success look like?
Honestly, this has always been a tough question for me to answer because I always wonder, like, what is success? I mean, I'm already very successful compared to if I really compare, to my peers or where my parents were and all that. But do I really, and I do feel successful, but I just don't like but it's not still satisfying. Like I still have, I feel like there's so much more I want to do. So yes,
Yeah.
it's great. I can look back and I can celebrate, right? Where I am, but I just had no like. It's so hard. I'm very successful. I feel very successful, right? But I still have more. I still don't feel as successful as I want to be successful. Like I don't know how to explain that. Like I'm very satisfied. I'm very happy with where I am, and I look back, I'm like, wow, I've come a long way. And then and in the same breath, like I know this is not where I meant to be or I want to be.
Yeah. Because when this topic has come up with friends, all right, not specifically about success, but you see me like I'm always trying to learn things. I'm always trying to set up interviews, or I'll go back to school, or just trying to get myself into different things. It's just part of my personality. And my friends will be like, why do you keep going? Like what you have Do you realize what you have? And like you, I want first and foremost, or in the middle of the conversation now, I want to point out that I am very grateful for what I have. You know what I mean? My home, my wife, my kids, all of that. So my drive for more, like you have like this itch. And I think that's that entrepreneurial spirit. Um, it's like this itch to keep building, to keep providing value. Um, if everything else is covered, for me, the basics, right? For me, it's like Pavlov's or no, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? You start with the basics. What do you need? Food, shelter, and then it grows to self-esteem, and then it grows to the top, enlightenment. So for me, as long as that bottom of your needs, your shelter, your food, nowadays your investments, your retirement, all that stuff is taken care of, it's almost like a clean slate. I know that stuff is taken care of. Now I'm looking for that enlightenment, that fulfillment. And it's nonstop. But I have had friends tell me, have you stopped to look around at what you have? I mean, 10 years ago, you would have killed for that. And I said, no, I absolutely am grateful for what I have. I just have this pull towards something and I can't even define it. So I don't know for you if you can define in the future what it looks like. Maybe not success because we both are kind of at a point where we feel like we're successful. So what does that look like in the future? When do you think, not to put it in these particular words, but when do you think it's like, okay, I've had enough, or okay, this is what I wanted? What does it look like, or are you still creating it and designing it and painting it like me?
I don't know when will it end, will it ever end. Like I just had this really moment of feeling like, wow, I'm so successful because I made $10 on one of the articles I wrote for Medium. Now that felt more successful than making like regular, like
Yeah,
whatever money I make in my business every month, which is way more than 10 times more than, $10. But those $10 I made through my writing was felt a lot more successful to me in that moment than the running a business and doing all the things. So there is a problem with success because I take it for granted that my business, like I know my shit, right? I know what I'm doing in marketing. So I expect that to be the case. But when it comes to writing, because I'm not like I've learned to write with a lot of hard work, years of preparation, years of reading, years of practicing it. So making that $10 was like, wow, look at people actually reading it and I'm getting paid for it. So
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And it's interesting you bring up that point about the success, the feeling of success outside of your business, because I've written about that recently, or I'm trying to write about it. There's always this thing where obviously everybody likes making money. Obviously, if you're in a business, that's what you want to do. But I've come to a point where sometimes I volunteer a lot. Since my dad passed away last year, I've kind of made this a year of service. So I usually volunteer a certain number of hours, and I'm trying to volunteer even more this year. And I find that in the moments that I volunteer, sometimes when I leave the room, if I'm speaking or if I submit something I've written voluntarily, contributed, sometimes those moments may feel like you said, it's kind of parallel to what you said about the money you got for your writing, where it's not the size of the money, but it's just the what you are working towards or helping people, providing value. There's just, for me, success, I've broken it down to like little instances. So when someone says that something I said, or someone I interviewed, or a conversation you and I had, or something I wrote change the way that they looked at something, you realize the ripple effect of the value. And that's just, it's amazing. I don't think, like I said, I've had money in my pocket. I haven't had money in my pocket. Nothing that money delivers kind of quite provides that kind of sensation of helping somebody and just presenting and sharing your ideas.
Yeah, I think success is more of a mindset. And when like I still remember when I was young, I defined my success based on other people, right? So their success is what I thought, I strive for, which is again, I feel like is fine because that helps you make it again,
Yes,
kind of go through your own journey and decide, if it works for you or not. Like
absolutely.
I remember I was in college and my roommate had like 6 or 7 pairs of shoes, and I just felt like she's way more successful. and she could afford to use, and it's so silly, a soap, Dove soap, which was very expensive in India at that time. But I didn't have that. But she would use soap, and had the shoes like six, 7 pairs, and that felt to me like, oh my gosh, she's so successful. Like her parents must be so successful to be able to do that. And I happened to have a conversation. So my brother has played a major role. And I was just saying, oh my God, like my roommate, uses Dove and she has so many pairs. And my brother he's very intuitive. He could hear the longing, like as if I'm feeling less than because
Less
of
than.
that. So like in a week, I got a sack of, like literally he shipped a sack full of shoes. I had like 10, 15 pairs of shoes and all the Doves I wanted in my life, right? And so I still, that is so vivid that thank God for those moments which my family always like, okay, even, I don't know how he got the money. Did he rob a bank? For all I he could have done that easily because he wasn't that rich at that moment, like where he could just buy. But somehow he heard that and he didn't want me to feel it. And he took action to make me feel like I am enough in that moment. And that was, again, it was such a wrong way to define success, right? Now, if I look back, but in that moment, that was the right thing to do.
Yeah, that I love that you bring up that comparison to other people. You may hear don't compare yourself to others, and I think I've said it before. I think we've talked about it before, where it's like it's okay. Our natural instinct is we're designed that way. Our primitive minds is about getting what we need. So, and belonging to a group. And am I bringing enough back to the group? Am I collecting enough? Am I hunting enough? Am I providing? Am I playing my role? It's in our DNA to compare. I mean, I don't think anybody can really say, or very few people can say, no, I don't compare at all. Like our first instinct is to do that. It's what you do with it. So I love the fact that you mentioned that you kind of use it as almost like a driving force. That it's more about developing yourself. It's not just strict. It's not the comparison and then it stops. It's the comparison and then it's like, okay, like what are my priorities? What are my abilities? What do I want? Um, I think it's good to look around, see what other people have. It gives you ideas about what you can strive for. It gives you ideas about where you can fill in the gaps and help others where they may need your help and vice versa. So I think comparison is good as long as it is, again, as you said, it's all about having that healthy mindset.
Yeah, and again, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and preach, how you need to define your
Exactly.
success.
Exactly.
But the fact here is sometimes you need to get to this place to redefine success. And again, I use my real life examples. Like my husband, for him, having a big house was like his way of success or providing for his son. So now we've come to a point where we have all this and he doesn't care. He no longer cares for this. He only cared till he got it. And now he got it. He realizes the futility of making your worth based on the house and based on the things you have. But it was always about having this fancy car, having this big house. And I had to step back and let him, I had to understand that because that was not my definition of success, but that was how he defined it. And I would tell, like, he needs to get this before he gets out of it. First,
Hmm.
he needs to have it and feel like, yes, it's possible. So for me to talk to him, oh, don't think of success this way. That's not how. It just won't work because he's never had it. He doesn't know. First, he has to experience it. So again, I think we just need to be we're very quick to judge others, even when they are defining success the way we don't define and maybe in a different way. And but step back, you don't know their life story, you don't know half of it. Maybe that's all they need in this moment to move forward and feel enough and feel that they are enough. So it's about always stepping back and not driving the idea of success from the place you are.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you and I have said before, or I try to say it too, is any conversations we have, or speaking for myself, anything that I mention is just kind of much like the coaching or the speaking or anything like that. I always tell people this isn't cookie cutter. This doesn't, anything that I say is not going to work for everyone. Anyone that says that this exact way is going to work for everybody, be cautious about that. The way that I speak or share or converse, it's one option, it's one consideration.
Yes.
It's just my viewpoint. I love to hear your viewpoint. I love to hear others' viewpoints, but absolutely, I mean, there's just no cookie cutter definition of success. So that's a good point that there's something to understanding always in every situation. It's important to step back and see what you're looking at. You know, don't get lost in what you see up close, but step back and realize just how different we are.
Yeah, and respect those differences, appreciate those differences rather than trying to make everybody think the same way. um, and no matter where you whatever makes you feel successful, right, work with it. But again, it is really is a mindset. It's about showing up. And when you can feel, you can find that moment of hope, right, in the worst possible situation, and you can hold on to it. I think that's the true, that's success in that moment. That's all you need. And then you go to the next step and you go to the next step. But and even if you don't have like if I don't have a definition of my own success clear, and I'm following others, so be it, right? Then I will understand and I will eventually find my own voice and feel like, because when you're chasing other people's success, it feels empty inside.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That is when you know that that is not your success, because you're still empty inside. You're still
Yeah.
looking for more things, like to fill your life up. Like, I'm not talking about seeking more things to do, but more like you're buying one more thing. You're having this another extra drink. Maybe you're having those two extra donuts. Like, you're filling your life with those moments of just high, because
Yeah.
it's still empty even though you're successful.
Such a good point. Such a good point. And I love how you reference the fact that you can look at somebody. I thought about that recently in the last couple of days. I forget why. It came up in a conversation. I think it had something to do with jealousy. And in the past, like I had been a jealous person, whether it was relationship wise or other things, like when I was a kid. Um, and like you said, that's such a good point. When you get there, when you get that thing that you're jealous of that you want, just because you see from the outside that it looks like somebody enjoys it a certain way doesn't mean that when you get in their shoes, whether it's a relationship, whether it's material, whether it's a house, that you're going to enjoy it the way that you saw them enjoying it, or that other people. It's again, there's that subjective part of it that we all have different ways of looking at things, feeling things, sensing things, wanting things in life. But yeah, just because somebody looks a certain way doesn't mean you'll feel that way. And yeah, I mean, with social media today, it's so tricky, with kids and what they see, and young people, and even adults seeing what other people are up to, what they're doing, what they're achieving. It can get pretty toxic. So it's important for people, again, as you said, just to understand what it is you need, get a good grasp of what you need. Sometimes, like you said, it takes, like what your husband did, getting into that house to realize that, okay, maybe it doesn't quite match to what he was aspiring to, but at the very least, he worked for it, he achieved it, and so on. So I think a big takeaway from this is just stepping back, understanding what other people may need is not what you need, but clearly understanding what it is you need for fulfillment.
Exactly. If you feel fulfilled by owning the best, most expensive car in the world, go for it. Like, nobody should tell you that you shouldn't own it. But if that's not where you need to be, then, just really tap into what is satisfying, what's fulfilling, instead of feeling, even after getting it, if you're feeling empty, then we just need to double check, our idea of success. Then that's all it is at the end of the day.
It's all about, yeah, it's all about that assessment, reassessment, constant evolution.
Yes, it never ends. Everything is a journey, I always say, but you can get a little efficient with it. You cannot
Yeah.
just be like, keep doing the same thing and keep having the same results and thinking something has to change. So
And
that
it
does.
may not be the same for everybody else, but I'm enjoying the journey, even the trial and the error of the journey, just
Yeah.
trying new things. Like I said, as long as those basics are taken care of, my family is has shelter and food and all of that. Everything else is such an experiment that it just turns out being fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So how would you want to wrap this up today?
When it comes to success, just make sure you truly, because I found that people don't really understand what it is they want. I think they use too much of the outside world, the external, as a gauge for what success looks like. A lot of the work I do is just inner work, reflection, self-assessment, before beginning any work that is like leadership with other people. So first and foremost, really think about what it is you want and what you may be foregoing because of this idea you have of what success is. Because like Prati said, if you don't really reconcile to what you really want when you get there, it might not feel like what you wanted it to feel like. What about
Yeah.
you, Prati?
That's it. I think again, just I always say keep the inner dialogue going, no matter where you are and whatever in your life, and then you will find all the answers.
Absolutely. So
Yes.
thank you everybody for watching and listening. Subscribe where you're watching, subscribe where you're listening. Reach out and let us know what you thought of the conversation. We're open to covering any topic. We're open to any ideas, and we'd love to bring on guests at some point to either discuss something, add something to what we've already talked about, or cover a new topic. Again, we're open, we're honest, and we're up for any kind of conversation. All right. So until the
Okay.
next episode, thank you so much and take care.
Thank you. Bye.